Let's get you our top story. Women activists gathered in the capital on Thursday to protest against the government's decision to free 11 men jailed for life for gang raping a pregnant Muslim woman during India's devastating 2002 religious riots after they were released on suspended sentences. The protesters demanded that the state rolls back its decision. 7 members of the women's family, including her 3-year-old daughter, were also killed in the violence. As the convicts in the case are now free, Mariam Alvi travelled to the district, which was once the hometown of Bilkis's father, but she hasn't been to it in almost 18 years. But the released convicts are back in town.
This is Randikpur in Dahod district. On my right here is where Bilkis's father's house used to be. On my left is a shop that is being run by Radhe Shyam's brother. Radhe Shyam is one of the 11 convicts that were released this Independence Day in the Bilkis Bano case. Radhe Shyam is back in this village. But Bilkis hasn't been back for 18 years and she says she does not see herself returning anytime soon. Radhe Shyam ji ने भी शायद सुप्रीम कोर्ट में पहले अर्जी भी दाखिल की थी कि उनको जल्दी रिहा किया जाए. उसी के बाद ये सब हुआ है जो इनको जल्दी रिहा किया गया है. इसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
वो 18 साल से वो हमसे दूर रहे. आज वो हमारे साथ में आए, हमको बहुत खुशी होती है.
अच्छा.
परिवार वाले
18 साल के बाद
वो घर पे आए. बहुत खुशी मिली.
अच्छा. लेकिन उनको तो कोर्ट ने भी गुनहगार ठहराया था, माना था.
जी.
उसके बारे में कुछ कहेंगे आप? क्या हुआ था?
न्याय तंत्र ने जो फैसला लिया उसका हम सम्मान करते हैं. उसके हिसाब से उन्होंने जो आजीवन कारावास भुगता है उसके बाद में उनका हक बनता है रिलीज होने का. वो उन्होंने.
लेकिन जो उस दिन हुआ उसके बारे में कोई अफसोस या
नहीं? उनको कोई अफसोस नहीं. हमने जो कार्य किया नहीं उसके लिए हमने कोई अफसोस नहीं.
बिल्किस के हस्बैंड से भी हम मिले थे. उनका कहना है कि उनको 18 साल हो गया यहाँ आए हुए. अब पता भी नहीं है कि वो यहाँ कभी वापस आ भी सकते हैं कि नहीं. वो आपको सही लगता है? राधे श्याम जी तो वापस आ गए.
देखो वो भी इधर आ सकते हैं, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. आप भी गांव में घूम रहे हो, आपको भी मालूम है ऐसा कुछ भी वातावरण इधर है नहीं.
लेकिन अगर आज बिल्किस या उनके घर वाले या परिवार वाले यहाँ वापस आना चाहे, वो यहाँ पे सुरक्षित रहेंगे?
हमारे घर रख सकते हम नहीं. हमारे घर रहे तो हम रख सकते.
पहले तो मैं आपसे ये पूछ लूँ, हम एक पब्लिक जगह पे मिल रहे हैं.
जी जी जी.
आपके घर के पास. क्यों?
क्योंकि डर है. जब से ये 15 अगस्त को एक अचानक से हमको एक शॉट लगा कि आपके केस के आरोपियों को, जो लोकल मीडिया से माध्यम से हमको पता चला कि आपके केस के आरोपी को, बिल्किस के आरोपियों को, ये 11 लोगों को गुजरात सरकार ने छोड़ दिया है. तब जाके हमको एकदम से शॉट लगा. हम घर में बिल्किस से बात किया तो बिल्किस एकदम रोने लगी कि क्या हो गया हमारे साथ. हम अब जिंदगी जीना शुरू कर रहे थे लास्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर के साथ,
जिसमें आपको
कॉम्पिटिशन मिला, और एकदम से इतना बड़ा झटका बिल्किस के लिए कितनी बड़ी मुश्किल होगी.
बिल्किस अब कैसे संभाल रही है?
देखो अभी मायूस है बहुत. उसके डर में, दिल में डर भी पैदा हो गया है कि जब वो लोग पैरल पे आते थे तो थोड़ा डर था, लेकिन आज पूरी तरह छूट के आ गए. आगे का भविष्य कैसे देखें? हमारा एड्रेस दिखाने के, कहाँ रह रहे हो उसके भी हम मुश्किल पड़ रहा है हमको.
और आपकी तो छोटी एक बच्ची भी है.
हाँ.
वो उनको लेके ऐसे मूव करना.
हाँ,
वो सब
बहुत मुश्किल होता है हमारा. हम अभी कुछ साल के अंदर आगे कुछ बढ़ने की कोशिश और शांति से रहने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, सीख रहे थे. 18 साल की लड़ाई के बाद वापस वही झटका हमको लग गया. क्या हो गया?
Moving on in other news coming in, there is Let's get you the latest satellite images sourced by NDTV indicated that China's naval base in Africa is now fully operational and supports Chinese warship deployed in the Indian Ocean region. These images come just days after a Chinese spy ship docked in the Sri Lankan port. Vishnu Som joins the dots to decode China's mission, Indian Ocean, whose target is India.
Satellite images sourced by us indicate that China's naval base in Djibouti on the Horn of Africa is now fully operational and supports Chinese warships deployed in the Indian Ocean. You see the base on your screen right now. Why is this important for us? China's presence in Djibouti is part of a detailed plan to establish its presence in the Indian Ocean, directed not just, for example, at the US Navy, which has major bases in the Persian Gulf, but also at the Indian Navy, the next largest in the region. Images of the fully operational base in Djibouti come at a time when China has docked a 25,000-ton satellite and ballistic missile tracking ship in the Sri Lankan port of Hambantota. We'll talk about that as well in a moment. But first, this is the area that we are talking about, Djibouti in Africa to the west, Gwadar in Pakistan, where China is building a base, and Hambantota to the east in Sri Lanka, where China has a 99-year lease to the port. It's effectively theirs. But first, let's turn our attention to the Chinese base in Djibouti on your screen, built at a cost of $590 million and under construction since 2016. It's located by the strategic Bab al-Mandab Strait, which guards the approach to the Suez Canal, one of the most critical channels of international commerce. Significantly, the images from Maxar, which we've procured, show a Chinese ship, a Yuzhou class landing ship, docked along a 320-meter long berthing area located near an apron that supports helicopter operations. This is a large 25,000-ton vessel designed to embark up to 800 soldiers and a combination of vehicles, air cushion landing craft and helicopters. In other words, a potential flagship of any Chinese fleet operating in the Indian Ocean. Elsewhere, there's an apron that you see over here for helicopter operations in the center of your screen. Looks like a small runway, where in this image taken less than a week back, there appear to be training activities underway on this apron or runway. A short distance away, a new building is under construction, as you can see, and the containers set up in the same facility are likely to support urban and counter-terror operations training. That's what the assessment from experts that we have spoken to seem to indicate. And in this image, you can see a wide shot of all of what we've described so far: the ship, the base, the training facilities, the new building under construction. It's a large facility in the Horn of Africa. Finally, a look at the Chinese satellite and missile observations ship, the Yuanwang 5, everyone's been talking about. That remains docked in Hambantota in Sri Lanka. We've marked its satellite and communication dishes. It's berthed next to an oil tank farm and is likely being refueled. It is being refueled at a time when Sri Lanka hardly has enough fuel to supply its own citizens.
Moving on, in other news, security has been increased after 3 AK-47 rifles along with cartridges were found on an abandoned boat in Raigad district of Maharashtra. While the matter is being investigated, the Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis has gone on to say that the boat belongs to a woman from Australia and no terror angle has been found in the case yet.
An abandoned boat washed up on the beach 200 kilometers south of Mumbai. Found in it were 3 AK rifles and several cartridges. The government says boat belongs to an Australian woman. On June 26 this year, there was an engine failure, after which the people on the boat were saved, but the boat could not be towed. But there's no explanation for the weapons. However, the Deputy Chief Minister ruled out a terror angle.
इस बोट का नाम लेडी हान है। इसकी मालिक एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन महिला है। उस महिला के पति इस बोट के कप्तान है और ये बोट मस्कत से यूरोप की ओर जा रही थी। देखिए, टेरर एंगल के संदर्भ में अभी कोई पुष्टि नहीं मिली है।
The local MLA in Raigad is worried about the timing. days before the popular Ganpati festival.
हमने डिमांड की है कि इसमें ATS की या फिर स्टेट एजेंसी की एक स्पेशल टीम अपॉइंट होनी चाहिए अर्जेंट बेसिस पे.
In view of the seriousness of the matter, security was increased on all the beaches, as well as searches are being carried out on the boats. It has happened in a state scarred by the 26/11 attacks when terrorists came by boat. With Pravinji Rohit and Sohit Mishra in Mumbai, Rika Roy for NDTV.
Now, in a new flashpoint between the centre and the Delhi government, this time over Rohingya migrants. The clash comes hours after Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri's tweets announcing homes and security for Rohingyas from Myanmar were contradicted by his own government. The Delhi government is accusing the centre of secretly trying to give permanent residency to Rohingyas in the national capital.
रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को, बांग्लादेशी रोहिंग्याओं को दिल्ली में बसाने की केंद्र सरकार की एक साजिश कल सामने आई. दिल्ली सरकार बार बार अपना रुख साफ कर चुकी है कि किसी भी तरह के अवैध प्रवास को, रोहिंग्याओं के किसी भी तरह के प्रवास को दिल्ली सरकार दिल्ली की सुरक्षा के लिए, देश की सुरक्षा के लिए खतरा मानती है. वैसे में उनको फ्लैट देने की किसी योजना का तो सवाल ही नहीं उठता.
दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी मुख्यमंत्री कम, झूठ मंत्री ज्यादा है कि जो रोहिंग्यास यहाँ पर रहते हैं, इलीगल माइग्रेंट हैं, घुसपैठिए हैं, इन घुसपैठियों को उनके ही पार्टी के विधायक मुख्यमंत्री जी की शह पर पानी भी देते हैं, बिजली भी देते हैं, राशन भी देते हैं, मुफ्त में देते हैं. और अब उनको फ्लैट भी मुफ्त में देने चली थी दिल्ली की केजरीवाल सरकार.
And moving on, in more news coming in Rajasthan's Jalore, the case of the death of a 9-year-old scheduled caste student is getting heated. The family alleges that the child died due to the beating of a so-called upper caste teacher in the school because the child touched a pot of water. While the school says this is not the matter of caste, the teacher had beaten the student for fighting with another student. Here's a ground report from Jalore with my colleague Saurabh Shukla.
Surana village of Jalore district, about 230 kilometers from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. A mother mourns her 9-year-old son. As does her husband. They tell us of the ordeal they faced trying to save their child's life, visiting 7 hospitals in 5 cities. From 20th July to 13th August, when he died in Ahmedabad's government hospital.
तो हमको पता चला मेरे कांधे के मास्टर मारा है. मैं सूरनम गयो अस्पताल.
तो मतलब आप कम से कम 10 अस्पताल गए, फिर एंड में आप अंत में आप गए अहमदाबाद.
इस दड़ा में ये घूम रहा, बहुत खर्चा करा.
The 50-year-old alleges his son, who was studying in class 3, was thrashed on July 20th by the headmaster of the school, Chail Singh, just because the son had drunk water from a pot allegedly meant for upper caste. The teacher is an upper caste, the family scheduled caste. The student had serious injuries on his ear and eyes due to the beating. We visited the boys' school, the dilapidated Saraswati Vidya Mandir in the village, and spoke with his classmate, who said they were quarrelling over a book, so Chail Singh slapped both of them.
क्या हुआ था उस दिन?
उस दिन हम दोनों झगड़ रहे थे. चाइल सिंह ने आके हम दोनों को एक थप्पड़ मारा था.
We met Ashok Kumar, the new headmaster of the school, a scheduled caste. He was appointed after a 9-year-old died and the upper caste headmaster was arrested. He defends his predecessor, denying caste had anything to do with the thrashing.
उस बात को लेकर मेरा ये कहना है कि सभी बच्चे टाके से पानी पीते हैं. जो भी बालक वगैरह ना, उनके भी आप पूछ सकते हो कि सभी बच्चे कहाँ से पानी पीते हैं.
तो मटके वाली बात से आप इत्तेफाक नहीं रखते?
नहीं रखते सर. मटके वाली और उस बालक से नहीं रखते सर.
दुर्भाग्य से 13 तारीख को जब बच्चे की डेथ हुई है, उसके बाद ये FIR दी गई है और 302 और धारा 3 SC/ST एक्ट में, JJ एक्ट में मुकदमा दर्ज किया गया है।
In the face of protests by the opposition BJP, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has tweeted that the arrest happened immediately and that SC/ST assistance money has been given to the family as well as 20 lakh rupees from his party, the Congress.
When we spoke with the people and the dynamics of the villages, that caste is dominant factor. Police is investigating the matter. Truth will come out. But we cannot deny the fact that there is no caste, everybody is happy here. Caste is dominant and it is reality of this village and our society as well. In Jalore, with Ashwani Mehra and Ganpat Singh, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
Now, due to a high volume of applications, several countries, including the US, UK, Canada and Schengen countries, are delaying visas, majorly affecting students as well as tourists. People planning to visit the United States are in for a rude shock as they will have to wait it out till 2024 to get a visa. NDTV checked the website of the US State Department and found that the average waiting time is about a year and a half, which means those planning to apply now will have an appointment in March or April of 2024. The average time is about 500 days to get a visa to the United States, and those applying for the very first time, their wait will be even longer.
To meet you.
And with that, we're sipping a very short break. News and updates will continue on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Reserve Bank yesterday gave a thumbs up for the Indian economy. The central bank is positive on India's economy and says price rise will ease this year. We have my colleague Priyanshi joining us for more. Priyanshi, what are the highlights of RBI's August bulletin?
Well, there are many positive signs for the Indian economy, and it's about something that impacts all of us, the price rise. The Reserve Bank of India is saying that inflation will come down to 5% by April to June quarter next year, and it will continue easing this year. The Reserve Bank also said that inflation might have peaked in the month of April, meaning it reached the maximum amount in April, and it'll only keep on going down for the rest of the year and reach 5% by April to June next year. So that's a major comment coming from the Reserve Bank of India on inflation and the price rise, the burden of which all of us are feeling. The Reserve Bank is saying that burden is set to ease. Now, on the global, on the economic front, the larger economic growth perspective, the Reserve Bank said that India's economic activity is broadening. The monsoon has been above normal. The Kharif sowing season has also been progressing really well. And all of these reasons are contributing to a positive outlook on the Indian economy and a broadening of economic activity. Now, the Reserve Bank also said the foreign portfolios are increasing. India is becoming a preferred destination for foreign portfolio inflows. In just August, we've seen more than 41,000 crore being invested in Indian equities. Welcome back. We have breaking news coming in at the moment. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has tweeted saying that the Central Bureau of Investigation is at his residence. That's the tweet that you're seeing right now by Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. Remember earlier, Delhi's Health Minister Satyendra Jain was also raided by the Enforcement Directorate on money laundering charges, and he was also taken in custody. Now it's Manish Sisodia, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, who is being raided by the Central Bureau of Investigation according to his claims, according to his tweet that he's put out. Let me just read out that tweet for you. What he said: CBI has come. They're welcome. He says that we're extremely honest. We are making the future of millions of children. He also says that it's very unfortunate that those who do good work in our country are behaved with like this, and this is why our country has not yet become number one. The opposition again attacking the central government for using central agencies against the opposition leaders. Let's go across to my colleague Arvind for more on this. Arvind, what more can you tell us about the CBI being at Manish Sisodia's house? What's the case about?
Priyanshi, the Central Bureau of Investigation has registered a case to probe alleged irregularities in the Delhi's excise policy. Earlier, the LG of Delhi, he had recommended a CBI probe in the Delhi's new excise policy matter. So, taking cognizance of the complaint from the Delhi's LG, the Central Bureau of Investigation has registered an FIR to probe alleged irregularities in the Delhi's new excise policy. So in that particular FIR, Manish Sisodia, who is also the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, who also handles the excise portfolio, he has also been named as an accused along with several other people. So as we speak, the Central Bureau of Investigation is conducting searches at over 15 places, more than 15 places across the National Capital Region. So what our sources are saying is that the residence of Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, who is also holding the excise portfolio, his residence is also being searched by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and not just him, few other officials who are part of this particular excise ministry or excise department, they are also being searched by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So in total, over 15 locations in and around the national capital are being searched by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and this particular case pertains to alleged irregularities in the Delhi excise policy. So as we speak, Manish Sisodia is the only politician who is being searched, along with few other government officials who are part of this particular department, and few other private players who have taken this contract in this new excise policy are also under the radar of the Central Bureau of Investigation. So as we speak, the searches began at around 8 a.m. Over 15 places in and around National Capital Region are being searched by the Central Bureau of Investigation in connection with this particular case.
Right, Arvind, those are the details of the case, of course. Now, what has been Manish Sisodia's response? He's saying that people who do good work are being targeted by the BJP government.
Yeah, Priyanshi, the moment when the LG forwarded this particular case to the Central Bureau of Investigation for further probe, that's why the Aam Aadmi Party called us that this is a political vendetta. They are trying to use the central agency against the Aam Aadmi Party, and this is not the first time. Even earlier also, when Satyendra Jain was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with an alleged money laundering case, and who is currently in Tihar jail. Even in that particular case, also Aam Aadmi Party had called this as a political witch hunt. They are saying that the central government is using central agencies against the party. And Aam Aadmi Party is not the only party which has raised this allegation. There have been several such opposition parties. They have been raising this issue both inside and outside the parliament, also saying that central agencies are being misused in this particular case. When it comes to the Delhi's excise policy matter, when the new LG, when he had recommended a CBI probe saying that there have been several gross irregularities in this particular case, the Aam Aadmi Party also hit back saying that it is not them. They passed the blame on the previous LG, saying that if there have been anything wrong, the previous LG was responsible for any of those irregularities. And in fact, even Aam Aadmi Party, the ruling party in Delhi, they had also recommended a CBI probe against the role of then LG also. But now what we are being told is that taking cognizance of the new LG's complaint, the Central Bureau of Investigation has registered an FIR. A corruption case has been registered against Manish Sisodia and few officials of Delhi government, and also few private players who took part in this Delhi excise policy, new excise policy, and also unknown others. So a corruption case has been registered against all these people, and as we speak, the searches are underway at over 15 locations in NCR. I'm telling you, 15 is just a number, and what we are being told is that this particular number will go up, so we can expect the searches to widen. But as we speak, the agency's searches are underway, including the residence of Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi.
Right, Arvind, for our viewers' understanding and also to get some clarity, what can you tell us? Just explain to us this excise duty, excise policy battle between the LG and the Delhi government that is at the root of this search that's being conducted this morning.
Priyanshi, the Delhi government came up with a new excise policy at the fag end of the second COVID wave, and then during the second COVID wave, the new excise policy was put in place in Delhi, whereas earlier it was only the government outlets were being allowed to sell alcohol beverages. But with the new excise policy, several private players also came in, and that's why the allegation was raised on level, saying that when new private players were brought in, when they took over this during this new excise policy, then private players got into this thing, and then government outlets were changed into private outlets. Only private players were allowed to sell alcohol in Delhi, and that the government actually they came out of this entire retail market of the alcohol beverages, and that's why they are saying that when all these private players were selected, the allegation is that there have been several gross irregularities, and the Aam Aadmi Party allegedly they benefited by giving their work or tenders or the tenders to such private players. In turn, they were they were benefited. That's the main allegation, big picture against Aam Aadmi Party that was leveled, and the new LG. He got into this entire, he examined this entire new excise policy, and they said that the new excise policy has resulted in loss to public exchequer. That's the first allegation in the CBI's complaint, which has been turned into an FIR now. The first complaint is that there has been huge loss to public exchequer when the new excise policy is compared with the previous excise policy or the old excise policy. That's first thing. Second thing is that ineligible players were selected to run the retail alcohol shops or beverage shops in Delhi. Third is Aam Aadmi Party illegally benefited by giving this work orders or giving this projects or giving this work tenders to this private players. So these three are the main allegations based on which the case was referred to CBI, and CBI has registered an FIR, and as we speak the searches are under.
Right, Arvind, for our understanding also, what's the process like? So we're seeing that now the searches have started in this probe that was recommended by the Lieutenant Governor. What happens after this? Till when could the searches expected to be going on, and what's the process that happens after that? What are the steps that we could expect?
Priyanshi, the Central Bureau of Investigation registered an FIR a day or two. We are not sure exact day when they registered the FIR, but they kept it under wraps because they wanted to conduct the search. That's the usual practice of CBI. The moment they register an FIR, they will conduct the searches. So the second process, after registering of FIR, the first process is over. Now the searches is underway. So the searches will go on at least till evening because searches are happening at over 15 locations simultaneously. All the searches started exactly at 8 a.m. So it will go on for quite some time. So after the completion of searches, the agency will put out a statement that what all they have recovered during the search operation. So then they will examine all the documents, because as we speak, what our sources are hinting is that the moment when LG forwarded the complaint to CBI for investigation, CBI also wrote to Delhi government. They have also got the relevant files, official records from the department, from the Delhi government relating to the new excise policy. Why was this new excise policy brought in? What was the reason behind it? And how was it formulated? Who all were part of it? Who all was consulted? Who all the officials who were involved in this developing the new excise policy? And how was it allowed? How was it approved? And who all benefited with it? So all those files relating to the new excise policy have already been taken by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So after a preliminary investigation, they register an FIR. Now the searches are underway. So after the completion of searches, they will examine the articles or materials or documents that they seized during the search operation, and then they will start issuing summons. So because Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia was also holding the excise portfolio, and that's why the agency has named him as an accused, and the searches are underway, including his residence. So after the completion of searches, we can expect the agency to issue summons to all the accused, including Manish Sisodia, and the agency will then record their statement. And if at all the agency finds that there is a need for custodial interrogation, and then they will go for a custodial interrogation. They will arrest accused, and then they will take them into custody for custodial interrogation. And after the completion of investigation, they will file a charge sheet if at all if there is a prima facie case made out in this investigation.
Right. We also saw the Delhi Health Minister being taken into custody and then being arrested by the Enforcement Directorate earlier in a money laundering case, as you were mentioning. And Arvind, what's the status of this excise policy currently that's gotten the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party government at loggerheads? We know that it was withdrawn by the Aam Aadmi Party government.
Yeah, Priyanshi, with the new LG raising several irregularities in the new excise policy, and when he announced that he is recommending for a CBI probe into the new excise policy, and that's what the Delhi government said that they are putting on hold this new excise policy, and then they have reverted back to the old excise policy. That has been done by the Delhi government. So new excise policy is not in effect in Delhi as of this moment. It has gone back to the old excise policy. But that's where the opposition parties in Delhi are leveling that this is a admission on the fact of Delhi government, Aam Aadmi Party government, that they are admitting the guilt, that there have been several gross irregularities in the new excise policy, and that's why there has been gross loss to the public exchequer, and that's why the government has gone back to old excise policy. But nevertheless, because a criminal investigation has been initiated with the registering of an FIR, and now we are seeing the second process in the criminal investigation set in motion, which is the search operation underway. So we have to wait for the outcome of this particular criminal investigation, what the Central Bureau of Investigation finds in this investigation. But as we speak, a huge development that is happening in the national capital, that the agency is currently searching the premises of Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, along with over 15 other places in Delhi, in and around Delhi, the National Capital Region, in connection with excise policy.
Right, Arvind, as we speak, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has also tweeted his reaction. He's saying that the day on which the Delhi education model was praised and Manish Sisodia's picture was printed on the front page of America's largest newspaper, the New York Times, on the same day, Manish Sisodia's house, the CBI has been sent to Manish Sisodia's house. He also says that we welcome the Central Bureau of Investigation. We will cooperate fully. There have been many tests and raids in the past as well. Nothing came out, and still nothing will come out. And Arvind, if you're still with us, that's one of the allegations being made by the opposition repeatedly, that you file all of these cases against opposition leaders, you conduct so many raids, but the conviction rate and what you actually find, what the central agencies actually end up finding in these cases is not so much. And that's what Arvind Kejriwal is also saying, that you've not found anything in the past, you still won't find anything, similar to what happened in the case with Satyendra Jain. So that's what the opposition keeps on saying.
Yeah, the opposition parties are saying that the central agencies are being misused to target the political opponents of BJP, and then in fact they have also gone parallel to the conviction rate of the Enforcement Directorate, which is official conviction rate, which is still less than 5%, and that's why they are saying that the conviction rate of Enforcement Directorate is a statement that shows that all these cases are politically motivated, and that's why that these cases are not standing in court of law. That has been the defense of the opposition parties. But whereas the central agencies, especially when you look at the conviction rate of CBI's conviction rate has always been at around 70%. So CBI has maintained the conviction rate of 70% that has been over the course of all these years.